We have one last question here. Although I miss reading your pieces in the Free Press, I am so very glad for your new ventures. Thank you for helping us all to improve ourselves. That said, who inspires you?
Wow. Well, I'll tell you a quick story that I think Leonard has heard before. When I was a junior at the University of North Carolina, you have to get an internship so that you can write news articles so that you can get a job when you graduate. And nobody in my family owned a car except my grandfather. I was raised by my grandparents. And so the News and Observer, the newspaper in the state capital of Raleigh, offered me an internship. But Chapel Hill is in Chapel Hill, and the News and Observer was in Raleigh, the state capital, 40 miles away. And I said, well, gosh, I'm not going to be able to take that internship. I'm not going to be able to, work in a newsroom. I'm never going to be able to write any stories. I'm never going to be a journalist. I may as well go home and work at a gas station. And I got on the bus and I went home that weekend and I was miserable and I climbed into bed and I didn't move. And my grandfather was a very gruff man, 6th grade education. And he said, what's wrong with you? And I told him, I got this offer for this job, but I would have to drive back and forth from Chapel Hill to Raleigh and I couldn't take it. And so, all that studying I'd done to be a journalist was for naught. And I went back to bed. That was on a Friday afternoon after I'd taken the bus back to Tarboro, Little Tarboro. Well, the next morning, Saturday morning, bright and early, I mean bright and early, he knocked on my door. He said, go outside and see whose car that is outside. Now, my grandfather didn't ask questions. It's like he told you what to do. And because he was Mr. Benny Pitt, you got up and did it. So I put on my robe and I went out and I looked. There, parked in front of our house, was a 1974, this used Ford Maverick, blue and white, clean as a whistle, nothing in the glove box, nothing on the seats, nothing in the trunk. I said, there's nothing in here, that can tell me whose car this is. He said, now you can get to work. And he walked back in the house. That moment and what he did is why I have a career. That moment and what he did got me to the News and Observer, which got me to the Dallas Times Herald, which got me to the Washington Post, which got me to the Louisville Courier Journal, which got me to the Detroit Free Press, which is why I'm in 2 halls of fame in Michigan and North Carolina, and I have this book. So I remain inspired by Mr. Benny Pitt. And I want you to say his name, Leonard.
Mr. Benny Pitt.
He remains my inspiration. He died and was buried on my birthday in the year 2000. But I always remember to write everything that I'm writing as if I'm reading it to him and to my grandmother, Loney Pitt, who I have to remember would have to give him permission to have given me that car. So I thank the both of them.
That's a beautiful story. I have heard that story before, but it does not get old. I love that story.